Alright, so welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful and exciting tutorial on the Streamlit project we are trying to do, we're trying to build another project, right? Another simple app. So this is what we're trying to do. So we're building a very simple app using the Netflix dataset, in which we're building a simple search app in which you can search for any movie title from this particular app, and then you can also do some predictions, right, with machine learning. So I'm also going to provide another video tutorial to how I arrive at the models that we were used inside this particular tutorial. So this is part of the Streamlit project, and this is like, I think, the 5th day. Okay, so let's check it out. So if I come down to this simple app, I can just search for a particular movie. So let's search for a simple movie, like let's say Star Wars, right? Yeah, we are getting to December, so Star Wars. So if I check it out, we can get, it's going to return all the results within this particular dataset of Star Wars. So you see that we have Star Wars Solo, we have the movie itself, right, with the movie title, and then the year it was released, and then the particular genre, whether it's a movie or it's a TV show. Perfect. And then the same thing for Spanish version, and then also for another movie, right? It's going to give you all the various movies within this particular dataset or database based on the search term. I can search for something like, let's say, The Witcher. I've not watched it, but I learned it's nice. Okay, so if I go with this, it's going to return all the results, right, for the movie The Witcher, or any other movie with the term The Witcher. Very simple. That is one part of the app. If I go from this place and I move to, we have 3 sections of the app. You just be going with the home, and then there's also a recommendation in which you can recommend, but that's not part of this tutorial. If I go back to the predict option, I can also predict whether it's a movie or it's a title, right? Whether it's a TV show or it's a movie based on the title supplied. Perfect. And I can also predict the description, the rating for the description, and then whether it's a movie or it's a TV show. So if I come here and I search for, let's say, enter a movie title here, so I can just put in any movie title. So let's go with, let's say, The Witcher. So we had, I agree, The Witcher. The Witcher is a TV show. It's a serial or seasonal movie, right? So it's going to come out that it's a movie. The prediction was interesting anyway. It's going to give us the prediction probability and then the particular classes, and this is going to give us a simple visualization map of it, right? Simple bar chart showing the probability for them. Perfect. If I go back from here and I search for another particular movie, so let's go with, let's say, Spider-Man, or say let's call it, let's say, Spider-Man, right? So Spider-Man will be probably a movie, so let's check it out. If I go back here, it's going to give us a prediction of it, and Spider-Man is a movie, that's giving us a probability very high, and then this is a simple plot, right? Very simple. That is one part of the app. The same part of the app, I can paste in a description of a particular movie plot. So let's get a particular description plot. So we are going to run the app. So what you are doing is that we have just created a simple form, right? Just a search form. Perfect. And then after the person clicks on the button, we are going to return the result in two aspects: what the person searched for and then the result. So to make it very easy, you can also use string .contains, but that is going to be more not performant. So I want to use our database, right? So be having our database that we'll be trying to get our result from. So let's work on the database section of the app. So it's going to be our database. Just opening with my default browser. Let's use Chrome. So I'll copy the address from here. So look out what this is the same address here, right? So I'm copying it here. And as you can see, we have the app there, right? So I'll position it beside it so that we see what you are doing so far. So, okay, so in case you have any question, let us know in the comment section below. How is my English? Okay, so let's go back with this. We're going to make this one better, so let's call this one as my Netflix DB app, right? Let's see, movie DB app, something like that. So we should run right Netflix DB. Okay, so this is where we're going to search. So if I type in a text here, so let's call it like a simple example, like let's say Star Trek, right? If I search for Star Trek, we are going to see the result. So that's showing results for Star Trek, and then you can see that the result is also going to come here, right? So let's work on the database aspect. So this is going to be a database, so DB. So it's going to be very simple. So I'm going to be using SQLite to help us. You can also use SQL Akami or SQL model, anyhow you want it to be. But let's go with SQLite 3 because that is very simple and it's easy. Now I need to create a connection to it. So let's create a connection to our model. So SQLite 3.connect. Then I need to specify the place that dataset is going to be, or the database. So Netflix titles, that's .SQLite, right? That is the name of the database. I have to provide the location for that. So I'll paste into my data folder here the particular dataset, right? And then the particular database. So I come back to my app inside my data folder. I'm going to paste in these things there, and this is a database, right? To make it easy for us to search, you also have the CSV, so in case you also want to work with it, you can also have access to it. So I'll come down to the app itself, and then we have made a connection to the database, and now we can also create the cursor to do executions, right? So it's going to be C for cursor, then connection cursor. So let's create a simple function to help us with our search. So it's going to be our search function. So let's call us fetch data. You can call it fetch data, or let's call it as fetch data to make it simple, or we can call it as fetch movie, right? Then I can specify the particular term I want to search for, so the title, right? And then from here I'm just going to go with c.execute. We are using simple SQL. We're going to say okay, so select everything from my data. So let's call Netflix titles. That's the name of the data table there. Where title, let's make it bigger. Where title, like, the reason we are using like is to make it easy for us to search across the board, right? So whether it contains a particular term, not specific, but if it contains any term related to that particular term, bring it out. And we are using this option here. We are using this here. So I'm passing this option, right? Perfect. So this is going to be the term can be in front or in the middle or any place, right? That is the meaning of this one. Perfect. Now passing my term here. So dot format. Then I'll specify what I want to do. So let's make it like this. So let's make it double quotation here, and then double quotation here, right? Dot format, and I'm going to pass in the title there. Perfect. So you're going to be searching for it. Then the result that is going to come, we are going to return that particular result. So data, I want you to fetch everything. So c.fetch all, then return that particular result, right? So this is a simple function using SQL, right, to help us with that. So you're searching the entire database with this particular table for this particular title column where it contains that particular term, right? Whether in front or at the back, right? That is, this is like string.contain in pandas, something like that. Okay, so I'll come down here. I'm going to apply that particular function here. So let's call that my result, and I'll just come back here and go with fetch movie. I'll pass in the title, so let's call the search title dot, let's convert it to title case. And now if I go back again, let's make sure that the result is being returned. So s dot right, I'll pass in my result. So let's go back and check it out. So I'll come down to the app itself. Let's search for Star Trek. Perfect. So it's giving us no such table called Netflix titles because maybe I made a mistake. So let's go back and check it out. So the reason it's not getting that, we made a mistake here. The name for the database is Netflix title.sql. So it's this particular titles, right? This is the wrong one. This is wrong. So let's delete this one. This is the right one. It's titles plural. That corresponds to the table here, right? That is how I named it anyway. So I go back again and let's try it out. So I'll search for it, and now we see that we have some results being returned, right? So we have gotten some results from our database. So we have a movie called Star Trek, and then with the description we also have another one for TV show called Star Trek, and then the rest. So based on this, right, you can see that the title of the movie, the type of the movie, whether it's a TV show or a movie, is number 1, the title of the movie is number 2, and then the description is number 4, the date it was published, right, or released, was number 6, and then the rating is number 8. So we're using these particular numbers to help make this one beautiful and nicer. So I'll come down here. I'm going to loop through the result that you are getting. So let me position it side by side. So I'll come down and then I'll look through them, right? So this return the entire data set, so I can look through them and go with this. So for I in my result, right? And I can just go with st.expander. I'll be passing in the result here. So let's go with I, right? So this is going to be the result. So dot format I. So let's pick the title only. So you can pick the title. The title, as you can see, is number 2. So title number 2, right? And then I'll just return the result. Let's see. So this, then let's go with st.right. Let's pass in number 4. So number 4. So I number 4, right, for the description. So I save it and I'll go back again, check for it again. So you're going to get the title and then the description. As you can see, based on the app that you have built so far, this is the previous one. So let me hide this one. So we have it here, right, in a very nice format. So this is very useful and very clean, right? So I now can click on the particular title to get more details. We have the description here, very nice. And also the same thing for this one, right? So this, I think this is not even the resolution, this is the cast, right? Perfect. So that is how it is. So everything is working as expected. So we will modify this one to make it beautiful, right? So you have seen how to build a very simple feature from the app, from the database, using this simple code here, right? Very simple. So let's go back again and then beautify this one. So come down here, and then I'm going to make it in a nicer way. So I'll come down here and I'll just call that. Let's say this is going to be my movie title. The first one is going to be my movie type, right? Which in this case is going to be I1, right? And then movie title is going to be I2, right? Then let's go with, let's say the movie, yeah. This is going to be I6. Then the description. So movie, you can also add more to it, right? It's up to you. Description is going to be I11, right? Perfect. So that is it. So now instead of me returning this one here, I'll rather return the movie title, right? So let's return the movie title, and let's not only return the movie title, but let's return the movie title, and then let's also return the particular type, right? So the movie title and the movie type. So this is going to be movie title and then a movie type, right? Something very simple like this. Okay, And then from here I can now return the other one. So I can return the movie description, right? Perfect. So let's check it out. I'll come down here. So the app is working as expected. Set for start trick. And now we see that we have our result. Let's hide this one. So we're going to be hiding the initial one here. Go back, let's expand it. Hide the initial one. And then you see that we have the movie and then the particular type, the TV show. And I can expand it and we get the description of that particular movie, right? So you have seen how to build this simple app. So we'll be adding a beautification later. So let's see how to add the simple designer here. Let's make this one beautiful. So I'll just go back again and within HTML. So to make it more beautiful, you can actually customize it with HTML. So I'll come down to the top of the app here and within Streamlit components, the HTML component. So import Streamlit components. So using Streamlit components to help us with that. Going to be Streamlit.component. Can't spell component. Components.v1 as stc. Perfect. That is what we're using, right? Then we are going to be using some simple activities to help us with that. So let's bring out HTML. This is going to be our function. I'm going to bring my HTML stuff to make it beautiful. So let's call it as, let's say, yeah, let's call it fancy UI here. Fancy UI, something like that. So we're using simple HTML to help us with that. So I'll copy the code for the fancy UI to make it beautiful here, so that to save us time. So let me paste it here. So this is simple HTML. So I'm just creating a div and a style. We're using simple span to give it that particular beautiful color. So let's go back and check it out. So this is here. So I'm trying to add some beautification to it, right? So I'm just using simple HTML CSS to make this particular custom title. And I'm going to be changing this one, right? This is the first time I'm changing this. Changing this one from this to this one. So let's call it as my STC, right? Streamlit component, HTML. I'm going to pass in my custom title. If I save it and I come down to the app itself, we run it, this is going to change. I'm going to have it in a very nice format. So this is very nice, right? Netflix, movieDB, and I can search for it and we can get our result. Perfect. So apologies for the noise you heard behind. Everything is working as expected. You can also add some beautification to it later on. But let's move on from here to the other aspect of the app. That is the prediction aspect. So I'm going to add another session to it. So I'll come down to the app and I'm going to add another subsession or part to it. So it's going to be the predict aspect. So predict. So this is going to be for prediction. So I'll come down back here. This time you'll be using the models to make our work easy. So it's going to be else if the choice is equal to predict. Then from here we'll be working on the st.subheader. Predict, like prediction, right? Something like that. So let's call this Netflix prediction, something like that. So if I go back and I check it out, so now we can move to that section of the app, the predict aspect, and you can get the Netflix prediction. So we're using a model to make our work easy. So I'll come down to this app here and then be creating two sessions. We'll be creating two different pieces, one for the description, right? So let's go to this column 1 and then column 2, st.columns. Perfect. It's just creating just two columns. Then with column 1, we're going to create our first form. So with st.form. So this is going to be a simple form. That's going to be a form in which you can search for the title, right? So title form. So when you specify the movie title, it's going to predict the rating, right? Whether predict the particular genre, whether it's a movie or it's a TV show. So it's going to be st. Let's go to search term. So, or you can call it as raw test, anyhow you want it to be, as you always do, raw test. Yeah. Then st.test input. I'm going to pass in the enter movie, or let's call it enter title here, right? Then we have a button, so submit button. So st.form submit button. This time this is going to be predict. Perfect. So that is going to be the first form. So if I save it, you're going to have that particular form here, right? Then we also need to create another form for the description. So I'll copy this one to duplicate it. So copy this. This is going to be for column 2, right? This one, let's call this one as my description form. And then this time we're not going to be using test input, we're going to use test area, right? And then let's call the submit description button. So let's go back again. So hopefully perfect, right? So we have two this one. So we have one in which you can put in the title here and one in which you can put the description. So I have to modify this one to enter description, so the person knows that this is different. So enter description. Here. Perfect. That is all. Now let's add the models to it to make our prediction. So I'm just going to go back to the top of my app. I'll be importing the model. So we're using Joblib. So import Joblib, and then also be using pandas to make our work easy for us. So import pandas as PD to make our data frames. Perfect. And then we also do the plotting later. So these are the two main ones we'll be using. So let's load our models. I'll come down here. I'm going to load the models. So I'm going to be load models. So I'm using Joblib to help us with that. So I'm going to create a simple function to help us load our model. So def load models. This is going to take in the particular model file, and then we'll be using a simple approach to work with that. So we can now just come back and say, let's say return. Then I can just go with the Joblib, right? Dot load. I'm going to open that particular file. So os.path dot join. I'm going to pass in the model file, and then we're going to read it as read byte. So this is for the open here. So read byte, read byte. See what I did? Read byte. Perfect, right? Yeah, so that is it. So this is going to return that. So you can actually make it like this. Let's make it like this. Model is equal to this, and I'm going to return the model. Return the model, right? Perfect. Something very simple. So this is what we're using to load our model. So let's load all the different models. So these are going to be our constants. So I'll paste them here, models. So go to my pipe. This is a pipeline because we are going to vectorize a particular test supplied and then pass it into our, to vectorize it, then pass it to our model to make our prediction. So I'll paste them here to save us time. So these things are coming from here, right? So these things is coming from inside our models folder here. We have 3 different models. So we have one in which the person specified the title, and then we're going to predict the type. Another one in which the person will specify the description, I'm going to predict the type. And another one, the person will specify the description, I'm going to predict the rating, right? So that's why I've named like this. You can see it here, right? So perfect. So I'll save this one here, and then let's go just load model, not load models. One. Now we're using this particular models constants here to make our prediction. So if the person clicks on the button, so if submit button is clicked on, then I want you to now use a particular model to give us our prediction. So pipe for the title, the type dot predict. Then this must be in an array, so I'll pass in my raw test. Then st dot write the prediction. So let's save it. Let's come down here. So OS is not defined, so we have to import OS. So go back. O comes before, O comes after P. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll refactor this one later. So to load the model by default, you can actually use a caching here to make it automatically loaded. So I can paste in this for the search movie. Come down to the predict section of the app, and now I can just paste in a title. So let's paste in our favorite title. So Star Wars. Let's pass in Star Wars. Predict the title. So this is a movie. It can also be a series. If I go back, we have it as a movie, right? Perfect. So you have gotten the result here. So if I expand it, you can see that that particular result is here, right? It's totally different from here. Perfect. So what I want to do, I also want to give the prediction probability for this particular one here. So how do we do that? So to get the prediction probability for this, we can just come down here, the same thing that we have done, right? The same thing, we can also come down and call it as prediction Proba, right? Then pipe title predict Proba, right? This comes with scikit-learn. So raw test here, and now I can just go back and then st dot write the prediction probability. So predict. So let's save it. So predict again. Now we're going to get the movie and then the particular prediction, right? But so that we have gotten a movie and a prediction, but we don't know what 0 is, we don't know what 1 is. So to be able to know that, we can actually use the class, right? Pipeline class or the classes on it to make that work easy. So we can actually convert this entire stuff into a data frame. So let's convert it into a data frame. So to convert it into a data frame, you can just come back here and call it as let's give it a particular name. So Proba df, right? Then pd.data frame. Then from here, I'm going to pass in my probabilities, right? Then to get the probabilities, I'm just going to use the same thing that we did above. So let's pass in the model itself. So predict title dot predict, pass in the raw test. Perfect. You can store inside a variable and use it, right? Anyhow it's going to be. So let's store inside the variable so that we don't rerun the model again. So this is going to be my prediction. It's going to be my probability. So predict probability, right? Prediction probability. Then in case I want to get the classes, right, for the entire stuff, the actual description. So let's go to classes. This I'm going to use a pipeline that we had dot classes with a bar. Don't forget the bar. Now we have gotten it as a data frame. I can just bring this particular data frame out. So st.data frame, passing my prediction probability df. So let's check it out. So now we are going to have it in a very nice format so that the user will know the probability of that particular prediction. So data frame must be one dimensional. So it's giving us this error because of this one here, right? The reason it's giving us that error is because of that. It said it must be one dimensional. This is coming as a two-dimensional stuff. So I have to get it from this place by coming back to this option here. Instead of this, I can now make it as 1, right? I can now bring this out to 0. Or I can change it from here. So whatever the result comes here, from here, we're going to get the results coming from prediction probability. Then I'll convert it to 0, right? Let's check it out. Predict. So now we have it like in this particular format, and it's nicer, right? Very nice. So that is the basic understanding. We just converted it, brought it out from that particular array, right? We have gotten it all here. So this is what is better. This is not useful. So this is what we bring into the user. Okay. So let's go back and then let's take off the first one. So I want to take off this. We don't need this one. So we're using only this one, right? So let's plot it. So how do we plot it? So I'm just going to create a simple function using author to make our plot easy. So I'm just going to import author. So import author as alt. And then to make our work easier, I already copied the code and save us time, right? So this is going to be for the plot for author. So what we are doing now is we are just using this simple author, right, to save us time. So we are just passing out the prediction probability, creating a bar chart, and then we have the class and the probability which we are plotting out, right? So this is a simple function we'll be using. This we used in a previous tutorial, so you can actually check it out. So I'll come down here to the data frame here, and now to plot, you just go with plot prediction probability and pass in the predict probability. So let's save it. Let's see what you have done. So if I click on predict for the app, you can now see our plot. So now the plot has come in a very nice format, right? But it would be nicer if we can hide all of these things so that it doesn't look plenty, right? So you have seen how to build the simple aspect of the app in which a person can specify the title of the movie, and it's going to predict the particular type, whether it's a movie or it's a TV show, together with their prediction probability, right? Very simple. You can expand this one out. So we're using the same idea that we have done here, right, on the description option, right? The same thing, nothing is going to change. So I'll come down and work on that. Perfect. So that is how to work with it. So let's make it beautiful. Let's go to submit title button, change this one from raw text to search title, right? So that it looks different. Search title, right? Perfect. So everything is working as expected. Okay, and then let's make this one from this one. Let's use info rather than, so info, and then let's bring the entire stuff one out. 0. Perfect. Right, so that now if I go back, so let's change this one from this to title button so that it's different from the other one. So predict Star Wars. Now we're going to have the results here. Perfect, right? And then we got the prediction probability and everything is working well. So let's see the same thing for the description, right? So I'll come down to the app we are working on, and then I'm going to change this one. So let's change it from raw text to search description, right? Okay, perfect. And now let's work on the same thing that we did above, right? So this time when we apply the test, we are going to be using 2 different functions. So I'll go back here and I'm going to say, okay, after you have clicked on the button, right? If you click on that particular button, so if submit description button is clicked on, what I want to do is that I want you to do this particular one. So the first one is going to be the description, right? So bring out the description that was applied. So submit description, right? So if I save it here and now I come down, so if I paste in a title, so let's paste in some description. I have some description somewhere. Right, so these are some of the apps that you have built, in case you're wondering. So I'll come down and I'll paste it here. I don't know whether the audio is down, but apologies for that. Okay, perfect. So that now it has come, right? So we need to be able to apply the models to it. So we'll be applying 2 different models on one single test, right? So I'll just come down here, right, and I'm going to apply the first model to it. So let's call this one as my result, right? For the first one, so I'll just pass in the pipe. So pipe, this time I'm using the description and the type dot predict. Then I'll pass in the search result. Perfect. So that's going to be the first one. Perfect, right? Then the next one is going to be the rating, the particular rating, which is also a very nice feature. So this dot predict, pass in the search description. Now we have 2 different results, right? One for the result itself and one for the rating, right? Or we can call this one as prediction, anyhow you want to be. Prediction and rating, like anyhow you want it to be, right? Okay, so that is it. Now let's return the results. So st.success. The first one is going to be the result 0 to get it out from the array. The next st.info is going to be the rating. So rating 0, right? So if I come down and let's check it out, if I click on this predict button, this is going to give us the prediction of the movie, right? So it's a TV show and this is the rating, right? Perfect, everything is working well. So the next thing is to give the prediction probability. So let's use beta expander to make our work easy. So I'll come down to the same place. So with st.expander, and this is going to be for the probability. So let's go to probability. How do you spell probability? Right? For the description. Oh yeah, type. And then you use the same thing above. So you can actually use this particular function that we had. This functions here. This same thing that we did here. So I can just copy this one to save us time. So this is going to be, let's paste them here. right? So this is going to be for the probability. Let's make it here. Probabilities, right? So this one, prediction probability, and another one. So we have one for the written. So this is going to be for the type, and it is going to be for the written, right? 2. So prediction probability type, prediction probability rating. Let's change the model we are using. So the model we are using for this one is not type. Model is pipe description type first, and then pipe description rating. So pipe description versus rating. So this is not search title but search description. So this is going to give us the prediction probability, right? And now we can now bring that one out here for the result. So let's call this st.write prediction probability for the type, and then now we can just use a plot that we had. So let's check it out. Hopefully it is working first before we move on to the next aspect. So let's click on it. Perfect. Now we have the prediction probability, right? So we don't want to be bringing this. We can just actually come straight away and then bring out the data frame, right? The data frame straight away together with the column and then the plot. So let's go back and then use the data frame option. So remember that we used this one for the data frame. This was how we did the data frame. This was how the data frame was done, right? Very simple. So we're using the same option to give us for these ones. So instead of coming back to all of this, we can now go straight away to the data frame. Apologies for the sound behind. Okay, so let's go back and then let's go straight away. So let's go with prediction, proba df, right, for type, right? And this is going to be pd.dataframe, passing the same thing we did here. It's going to be passing the same thing. So I'll copy this one here and modify it. Yeah, save us time. Let's copy this one. I think we are taking too much time on this. My apologies. So prediction probability, and we have our result here. This was the result, right? This was the normal one. So we want to just go back again and use the predict pipe now description and then a type dot predict proba. Now passing my result for the search term, search description, right? This is what's going to give us the first one, and then we must bring this one out as we did above. And for the classes, we also use the same thing. So let's make it like this. For the classes, we are using pipe description and a type, just as we had here. So this is one for them. So we can also do the same thing for the next one. So this time it's not for the type. This is for the rating. The same thing that we had here. I'm going to change this one from type to rating. Perfect. And now we can bring that particular one here. So let's check it out and see whether it's working. So click on the predict. Voila, right? So let's see. It's telling us that a prediction probability type is not defined because of how we named it. So prediction probability type, see how we did it. Yes, it's going to be prediction proba data frame. Sometimes naming is one of the most funniest and difficult things when it comes to programming. How to give consistent names that make sense, so that the next time you come, you know what it does. So if I come down here, we have it here, right? Very, very interesting. So this is the prediction probability. Now we want to bring down the plot. So now, because we created a simple function above here, which takes in the prediction probability data frame, we can actually apply that particular plot for all that work. So I can now come down here and then apply the plot. So plot, and pass in the prediction probability type. So prediction proba for type. Perfect. And I can also repeat this one for the rating. So this is going to be for rating. So this and then this. So in case you have any question or contribution, you can just put inside the comment section below. And I don't know how far you have benefited from it, so let me know your opinion. Right, is this series you are doing, is it helping you? Are you learning something from it, so that you know how to correct it in the upcoming ones? Okay, perfect. So it's working perfectly well, right? We got it very nice for this thing. And then let's check this one also. Voila, right? Wow, so the app is working as expected. You can see the rating and everything, right? Very cool. So that is how to build a simple app that does two things. So it's just a search app in which you can actually search a particular movie, and also a prediction app, a data machine learning app in which you can predict the title, whether it's a TV show or it's a movie, or you can also specify the description. It's going to predict the rating, right? So if I come back, click on the predict, it's going to predict the rating for the particular movie, and then whether it's a TV show or it's a movie, and then the rating as well as their prediction probability, right? Very simple. So thank you for watching this long tutorial. So to recap, we just built a simple app in which it does several things. So we imported our Streamlit in our packages. We created a connection to a database in which we can use it to search our movie, right, using simple SQL. And then we also have another section in which we load our models that we'll be using to make our predictions. And then we created a simple custom title fancy UI to give this simple UI that we have. This nice UI you're seeing here, right? Like Google's UI. And then we just created some sessions to receive input from the user, and there's a place to process the result, another one to receive input from the user, and then to process the result. So thank you for watching this tutorial. See you in the next session. In case you have any question or contribution, you can also put inside the comment section below. And in case you also want to sponsor this channel, we have a Patreon channel that you can also sponsor. We have some Udemy courses that you can also sponsor. And check out the materials and the resources in the description below. See you another time. Stay